everybody, this is Dan with the bottle of some truth, and let's talk about the Dakota Access Pipeline. Specifically, there are reports that Dakota Access hired an armed contractor to infiltrate the water protectors and perhaps set off violence. I'm going to play the footage so you can see it for yourself, and we're going to talk about it when we come back.
This comes as more details are emerging from Thursday, including video footage of a Dakota Access security contractor holding an assault rifle with his face covered by a bandana, apparently attempting to infiltrate a group of water protectors. A Standing Rock Sioux tribal member says he saw the man driving down Highway 1806 toward the main resistance camp with an AR-15 rifle on the passenger side of his truck. Protectors chased down his truck and then pursued him on foot in efforts to disarm him. In the video, the contractor can be seen pointing the assault rifle at the protectors as he attempts to flee into the water. He was ultimately arrested by Bureau of Indian Affairs police. Protectors said inside the man's truck, they found a DAPL security ID card and insurance papers listing his vehicle as insured by DAPL. That's the Dakota Access Pipeline.
All right, so you saw that footage for yourself. You saw the gentleman in the red bandana. He was armed. That gentleman that we're looking at actually worked for the Dakota Access Pipeline. Why was he there? What was his goal? Armed, pointing his weapon at people. Think about this. He's pointing the weapon, and people could have been shot. Luckily for those indigenous peoples there who are so courageous and so bold as to talk him down, he could have shot somebody. And imagine if he had shot someone, but they didn't know that he wasn't with them. His face is covered. It could have set off a conflict between the Native Americans and the police, and that could have been a slaughter because the Native Americans are not armed. But let me give you a few details because there's so much I could say there. So, and I'm reading for Democracy Now! Because they've had some really great coverage of this. And I'm going to include a link in the description, so don't worry about that. They're talking to Dallas Goldtooth, who's an organizer with the Indigenous Environmental Network. And so what they're basically saying here is that when they looked, they saw his name is Kyle Thompson from the ID. They saw that. And Dallas Goldtooth says there's a variety of accounts from what they understand that was told to them that he was tasked with identifying and being within the crowd, watching internally from within. And that there was also suggestion that he might have been tasked with instigating some sort of violence from within the crowd and to garner a reaction from law enforcement. That is a false flag operation, folks. And our government is not above this. If you look at the history of this country and you see what the FBI has done, if you look at COINTELPRO, if you look at false flag operations, this is real. So what you're looking at, think about this now. There's an oil pipeline. And the people of Bismarck said, we don't want it to go through our town. And the builders of it said, fine. So they're building it through the Native American land, violating our treaty with them. And they don't care about polluting their water. And look at every means that this pipeline company has gone through, them and all the banks who are working with them. They've spent close to $10 billion in policing. They've arrested over 140 of them. Just recently we found out they have one charged with attempted murder, saying that they shot off 3 shots. But the police chief earlier admitted that there were no shots fired from his recollection. So you have all this happening, every single piece. And what is it for? It's for oil. It's for oil. And the Native Americans are fighting just to protect their homes, to protect their land. And big business doesn't care. This is the land of the free and the brave, right? Isn't this supposed to be a land where people's voices matter? So props to the Native Americans who are fighting out there, those who have gone to support them, those who have donated to them, those who are talking about this on YouTube and new media. Props to everyone who is doing the work, because obviously you have a company that is not above sending a spy in to do untold amount of damage just so that they can make sure that this pipeline is built. And if you're still wondering why you haven't heard anything from the presidential candidates, because the banks that are funding this probably have already purchased them. This is Dan with a bottle of some truth, and I am out.